What's happening? Good looking.
You're happening. You've got massive forearms, hey?
It's excessive masturbation for the last fucking 10 years. You know what's up.
True.
I
I
mean,
don't
fuck.
understand how you hold a bar without wrist wraps. Like
The,
200. What do you bench? 210 for two?
no, I've done 210 for one. You can't.
Don't let me catch you. If I do 210 for two before you do, I know it'll destroy you. But I equally know that if I did 210, I know
You
that
wait
in 3 weeks'
past it.
time, you're doing 220. I just know it. It's the
That's
way that all of our bench press sessions work. Is I'll go first, and then Dylan has to beat me by one rep, just to prove that he's a better bench presser than I am.
yeah, it's my little fucking competitiveness in there somewhere. So
Good. Hey, today we're going to be talking about how to close the gap in your studio sales.
gotcha.
What we want to do here is overcome struggles, misconceptions, limiting beliefs, positioning, and training. Now, sales is always going to be one of the hardest parts of a fitness business. And for some reason, we've just come to a place in 2023 where selling our fitness studio feels awkward, feels sleazy. For some of the people that we work with, feels like we shouldn't even have to sell. And then what's that saying? If we build it, then they'll come. We run into that all the time. And so we're currently sitting at 130 members. And
Word will get
that
out.
if we opened it, that people will just turn up. And it just doesn't work like that. Like you have to sell. I don't understand. Like in every single business, that you have to sell. It's how it works. And we want to look at why those misconceptions, the limiting beliefs exist, and actually pick those apart, because we spend the majority of our time consulting on the sales process. Because once you've got ads in place and you've got a funnel that is working and you've got an offer that is working and the market is putting their hands up, then the next logical bottleneck that you're going to get inside of your business is going to be selling it. And depending on how profitable you want to be in the front end, right? So if you want to not be super profitable in the front end, you don't have to sell that much. We recommend that you still sell, but you don't have to sell as hard, right? You don't have to be as skilled, I should say, inside of the sales process. But if you want to be profitable on the front end, which we recommend that every single fitness business should be, then your sales ability is going to be called into question. And if you want to sell high ticket, then you have to have
Fucking mid ticket.
even mid ticket,
It's not
$99 to $199.
Bro,
You've got to
have you
have skill. And to be honest, man, if even like $600, all you really need to do there to get somebody to exchange money is have them understand the value of them getting their ideal destination. If you want to sell more than that within the same time frame, then you add all the bells and whistles to get them to that destination faster. Your sales ability is going to be called into question, and it's not okay from in 2023. Like the market is shifting. Because the market is shifting, we are in a recession. The fitness businesses are going to be the first thing that are going to go. And then you're going to deal with buyer's resistance based on the economic situation. And if you're unable to deal with this, then you will not be able to pull the amount of members that you need to even break even. You'll have people churn and you won't be able to replace those people. And we don't want to just replace them. We want to have net gain every single month and actually grow. So you're going to need to be able to sell. We're going to look at the three things to start, which the first of the 3 points that we want to look at today is the limiting beliefs around sales. What are some of the limiting beliefs that studio owners hold when it comes to selling?
First thing, every single time, they don't like sales.
Why?
Okay. They think it's sleazy. They think it's a fucking skill set for a Jew in a car. You're trying to sell you a $10,000 car for 20 grand.
Yep.
Okay. Once again, we go through the exact same fucking question, the same statement that we went through in the last podcast. And I'll just paraphrase it because Aaron already know all the answers. So it's okay, cool. I ask every single time, why do they go to a gym? And they say, go to a gym because I like being strong, I like being fit, I like being whatever. Some of them are powerlifters, some of them are CrossFit people, some of them just train for general life, right? And they all like to do it because it makes them feel better about themselves. They like to be confident, they like to be strong, they like to look happy. And being fit and strong makes them feel better about themselves. And I say, okay, cool. If you're anything like me, the reason you like to go to a gym is because if you don't go to a gym for a week, how do you feel? And they say terrible. And I say, if you're anything like me, if you don't go to the gym for a week, you are not as productive. You actually make less money. You're emotionally volatile, emotions up and down. You're not as confident. You don't like how you look in the mirror. How much would you pay to solve that problem? And they say, oh, all the money, all of it. And I say, okay, cool. So you have a product that actually does all of those things, and you're not out there bashing on people's doors, trying to get them on board. Why is that? Oh, okay. Let's look at it like this. If I had the cure for cancer, the cure, why would I not be going into every single hospital ward on the planet, shoving this cure for cancer down people's throats?
Yeah.
You just fucking, you just need this. You need this. I'm going to save your life. Just do it. Or should I just stay in my fucking little house and hope people come to me? Like, it's not as extreme as that because the results aren't as good as curing cancer.
It's pretty close, Brian.
I saw something in the New Zealand Herald, which is our newspaper. It said 4% of people in New Zealand have got a gym membership.
That's ridiculous, bro.
Rough. We're the
How many of those people wore masks?
Funny. That would have been a conspiracy theory thing and got you banned a few years ago. But anyway, so 4% of people have got a gym membership. We're the second fattest country on the planet. Out of that 4%, how many of them go to a big box gym? The answer to that is probably 75%. And then we know that about 8% of people turn up to go to the gym. So we're looking at maybe 1% of New Zealanders going to the gym week. Your market's saturated, eh? You have one of the best products on the planet. You should be shoving it down everybody's throats, forcing it, like picking them up from their fucking house, get into the gym because you know how great it is. Yeah. So sales is not sleazy. It's only sleazy when you're selling something that's not worth it. Do you think your gym's worth it? Okay. Then the second thing, it's because you haven't done it. Everything's scary when you haven't done it before.
When you lack skill.
Okay. So ask yourself this. How did you look the first time you squatted? Went up there.
No, pretty bad.
Bench pressed or fucking did a pull-up or whatever, doesn't matter. Yeah. Name the exercise. You probably didn't look good the first time you did it, but once you've done it 10,000 times, how do you look?
Less bad.
Less bad. Less bad. So when you sell for the first time, when you pick up the phone for that first time, call that lead, it's scary. It is, honestly, it's really scary. There were times where I hoped the person wouldn't pick up. Okay. So that was scary. You're not alone. But once you've done it, I was making about 350 phone calls a day. After I've done it for a week, it's just fucking not a big deal anymore. Because I've already made 3,000 calls. So it's like, oh, cool. Just another one, just another one, just another one, just another one, just another one. So volume, reps. The only way you can get to a 200 kilo squat is by squatting multiple times a week for a couple of years. That's it. Same with sales. It's not a big deal because you're not ripping people off. You're actually providing a really good service. One of the questions I ask is to see if people have got conviction in their gym is, would you sell your mum into a gym membership full price? If the answer is no, you've got bigger problems to deal with. If you've got a good gym and you think that you benefit people, why are you not sharing with everybody? The good thing about sales with fitness is it's not even sales, it's coaching.
Yep.
Okay. It's your first coaching experience. You're just trying to figure out if you can help them out. That's it.
Yeah.
Your only goal is to figure out, okay, can I help this person out? Yes or no? If you can help them out, awesome. It is your fucking duty to work as hard as you can to get them into the gym multiple times a week because you know how much better off they're going to be if they do. If you can't help them out, not a problem. Do not sell them. If you can't help them out, don't sell them. Refer them to someone in the area who can help them out. You'll feel good about yourself. I promise. And as long as that's your intention, you have zero stress, zero anxiety. I have no motive other than to help you out. And if you don't like them, you don't have to sell them. If you can't help them, you don't have to sell them. Bring in the people you like and you can help.
Yep.
And you'll be okay.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's the biggest reframe that has to happen in sales is you have to go from, I see this as one of the sleaziest actions that I could do to one of the most valuable actions that I could do for somebody because I can actually help them. And the barrier between them entering into our business and experiencing that change is me having this conversation with them. And naturally so, the fitness industry has destroyed people's perceptions of being sold something because we've all had the 3-minute abs, the thigh masters, and I remember my mom, dude, she loved everything that was sold between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day. So we had the total gym. We had the ab crunch thing and you had to pull in the roll up. We had everything that could be sold. And the promise that they always says, do this 5 minutes a day and you're going to get to X. Well, that's the perception of so many people, both the consumer and the coach. and how they perceive fitness sales to be. And that is an injustice to both the consumer and the industry as a whole. It is entirely an injustice. But that's not what you're selling. And what you are selling is a coaching service to get somebody to experience their ideal desired outcome, which will absolutely transform their life, which is worth infinite value to them. And you've somehow masqueraded that as 3-minute abs, and you feel like a sleaze. The reality is this is the first coaching experience that the customer is going to have of your studio, and you get to coach their way through making the best decision that they can for themselves. And that's so valuable for so many people. And I think that is a privilege to be a part of that position. What about when it comes to improving the studio's positioning inside of sales, where we go from convincing somebody to join, which is often the way that studios are selling when we come along. They're trying to convince them to come through, to coaching. What shifts have to be made to move from convincing someone to buy versus coaching them into a really good decision that's best for them?
Stop thinking about it as transactional. Stop thinking about the price tag. Convincing only happens when you make it transactional, when you only care about their money. Stop caring about their money. Because the $50 a week, the $100 a week, whatever, is not going to change your life. It doesn't matter. I gave you an extra $50 a week in your bank account, how much would your life change?
It wouldn't.
Not at all. Not at all.
The quality of life would definitely increase if I had burger fuel.
We can get burger fuel on Friday. But it doesn't matter.
Nah.
Doesn't matter. So stop being attached to the price tag. The only thing you need to be attached to is whether or not you can help the person out. That's all that matters. If you can help them out, that means coming on board. And then that's your duty, is to get them on board. But not because of the fact they're going to pay you, but because of the fact that they're going to be better off as a human as a result of working with you. That's the change.
So we're not going to be transactional inside of the sales process. How does that then shift to some of the words or some of the language that we use? Like, how does the conversation change?
Okay. You want an experiment on what not to do? Put your name, phone number, and email into the websites of all the gym in your area. Have them call you up, and they'll basically say, "Oh, hi, Aaron. Can you please come into my gym?"
Pretty much.
Yuck. Right? Yuck.
It's a real gross experience to be on the other side of the phone. We've been on a few of them.
Lots of them.
Yo, it's gross, man. As a consumer, it's such an awkward conversation because it doesn't feel like you're being led. It just feels like there's a underlying motive to join the gym. Recently, here's the story. Recently, we went to go down to the BFT down here. It's a new one. And my wife was like, I want to put my name in, but I also don't want to have an awkward conversation. As a consumer, she's fearful of the conversation. That's what your people are thinking about when you call them. Now, if you affirm their belief by giving them a really poor phone conversation, you dig yourself into a hole, man. The consumers already hold that belief system. They already hold the beliefs. There's going to be an awkward call after this. And it's the one thing that we don't want to become proficient at, is that calling experience. And the way that you overthrow someone's poor experiences and their poor beliefs is you just do the opposite. You give them an absolutely phenomenal calling experience. My wife joined down here at another gym, and she said that was a really awesome buying experience. They called up, had a really cool conversation, invited her down to the studio. She went down immediately. They basically said, hey, look, if you do this, here's your options. Like, you can sign up with us. That's cool. There's other options available to you, which she found that was nice. They just wanted to help based on her experience. And she was like, that was just a really nice, thoughtful experience. Wasn't awkward. And that's what it needs to be. And because it's so freaking awkward, and because everybody hates it on both sides of the experience, the ones who have control of that experience don't want to take responsibility for it. We continue to leave the consumer thinking falsely about the entire industry. Strategically, then, how does the conversation go? So if we're not going to be transactional, if you're not going to make it awkward, how does that have to change in order for it to be an enjoyable experience?
Starts off with the first impression. Aaron, if I called you up and said, oh, hi, I'm looking for the homeowner, what's your reaction?
You want something? I'm going to hang up.
If I said, oh, hi, I'm looking for Mr. Hills.
The bank or the tax man? I don't want to talk to either.
Hi there. I'm looking for Aaron.
Okay, you're a stranger. You're still wanting something from me.
I said, yo, Aaron, what's happening, brother?
I'd say not much. Who's this?
Greet and act people like a friend every single time. So you know those people, right? You know those people in your life who just seem to get along with everybody endlessly.
Yeah.
I've met a few people in my life who you put them into a room with nobody they've ever met, and they'll come out with three best friends. What do they have that most people don't? They're just fucking likable. They're confident.
Yeah.
Those got to be the first two. Be likable, be nice, be confident. Instead of greeting people awkwardly, saying, hello, is this Dylan? Say, g'day, Dylan. What's happening, man? How are you?
Mm.
Oh, I'm pretty good, thanks. Who's this? Oh, look, it's just Aaron from F45 Medical. I see you put your name through our website. How'd you hear about us? Oh, I just saw your ad. Okay, cool, man. One thing I really like is adding a little disclaimer. I do the exact same at the start of every single one of my conversations with gyms. I say, now look, the goal for today is to figure out where you are and where you're looking to go. If I can help you out, awesome. We can talk about how. If not, I'll refer you to someone else in the area. Is that fair enough?
Fair enough.
Cool. Instantly, people are relaxed. And you say, awesome. So look, what inspired you to reach out, man? Why'd you put your details in there? Say, oh, this and this. And you just have a conversation.
Structure.
Guided with a goal, but it's just a conversation.
Correct. And the nature of that conversation is to extract answers that are meaningful for the person.
Yep.
And meet the milestones. The first milestone we've already talked about, which is you've got to pre-frame, which is you just got to build rapport and get permission to move forward. And then you've got to understand their pain. And to understand their pain, you have to ask a series of questions that get deeper as they go. And they've got to be contextual. And then you've got to understand what's the opposite. You want to know what the gap is. That's where we ask questions around their possibility. What is it that they want? Where is it that they're going? What's their intended destination? And then when you've discovered the gap, then you need to understand the problem. Why haven't they closed the gap? And then once you've got that information, you've got every excuse that they would use to not join you or to not do that. And you've got sufficient information to know whether you can help or not. Then you can move the conversation forward in a pathway and a pitch. And it depends what you're doing. So if you're on a call, if you've got a one call close, maybe you're selling a low ticket item, low to mid ticket item, $99 to $200, you might just close them over the phone. If you're selling a trial, you might just pull them into the studio. And if you're selling a high ticket offer that requires a consultation, you'll then pitch them into a one-on-one consult. Awesome. But you need to go through all of those, and the conversation is not at you. It's questions. It's framed up with questions. Give me information where you can tell from the way that I opened you that I'm not here to convince you. I'm basically here to understand is what you're thinking about the best fit for you, and are we able to help? Why then, when it comes to the training component, do you think that many studios don't focus in on training? What's the missing gaps when it comes to training and mastering the sales process?
First 100 reps.
First 100 reps.
First 100 reps are the hardest. They suck the most because you've never done it before. It's hard. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
They put off. They do the first 10. It's really hard. They don't do the next 10 for another week. Keep putting it off, and it'll take another 6 months before they're done the first 100. It's like the dragging. It's like pulling the plaster off the slowest way possible. And you suck at it, and because you suck at it, you don't like doing it. Because you don't like doing it, you do it last, and because you do it last, you often don't do it, and then you don't get any better. That's all it is, and that's literally it. So the only thing you can do is force yourself for the first week to go over the conversation and to have the conversation 10, 15, 20 times a day with yourself, with your partner, while you're driving in the car, practicing it on the leads that are coming through. Get as many reps in as possible. It's just like squatting. The more you do it, the better you get at it. That's it.
When it comes to training their staff, what's your recommendation for training internally?
Daily drilling.
And how does that generally work?
Just focus on one part of the conversation or the whole conversation and just role play it.
When I was selling for City Fitness, that's all we would do every single morning. The first thing that we would do in the morning is we'd have our 4 salespeople get together, and then we either choose, are we doing objection handling today? Are we doing intros today? Are we doing a pain cycle, possibility cycle? What are we going to do? And then we would basically go, all right, I'm going to open up the conversation. That person asks the next question. And then the person to their left, they respond, but then they also ask the next question. And then we just go around the circle for 15 minutes, done. And then we move off and we go and sell. That's it. Training is not hard for sales, but it has to be done and it has to be intentional. Because if you know that you're going to struggle for the first 100, you can artificially recreate that by training. Nothing's going to be better than the real thing, but you can get in volume and reps inside of training, especially when you're training with people that you don't know or you're not actually that comfortable with. It's almost replicating the same environmental situation. So what we do is you meet up with different gyms every day, and their staff and their salespeople all meet together, and then they drill against each other, and they don't know each other. They're in different countries. And it's almost the same because we've got the same social components that you would have by selling over the phone. It's like two random strangers. Here's the conversation. Go.
Yep.
Very nice, man. So the 3 steps to closing the gap in studio sales. Number 1, you got to debunk your limiting beliefs about sales. You got to get rid of those things. And the number 2 is you've got to improve your positioning in sales by shifting from convincing to coaching. And number 3, you've got to train to master the process. We're talking about the actual words, the scripting, or the questionnaires, what we like to call them, because you're asking questions that are contextual to where the person is at. Yep. And then you've got to know all of the milestones, the techniques, the objection handles, and that requires immense amount of volume. And you've just got to subject yourself to getting the reps in every single day. Awesome. That's it for this one. We'll catch you in the next.
Lady, good looking.
See you, bro.